So we are here again with a Videocast. Hello, Anna, and well, we have soon the Chinese New Year around the corner. I don't know if you guys are going to be celebrating that in Italy, but here in Beijing, they're certainly getting really ready for that, as well as the Beijing Olympics that are around the corner. I don't know. Do you have any Chinese New Year's plan, Anna?
I mean, yes, of course, Halldor. We always celebrate the Chinese New Year. For sure, the celebrations are not as big as those happening in Beijing and around China. But, also in Italy, we have big Chinese communities, especially in some cities. So as I'm here, I'll try to go to Milan because the Chinese New Year there is pretty nice. In times of COVID, I am not sure exactly what is going to be allowed, but for sure we're gonna celebrate the Year of the Tiger at least with some good Chinese food. That's the plan. But normally there's also parties and celebrations going on the streets that are also pretty cool. So let's see how is the atmosphere in Beijing these days.
Yeah, it is. It's nice. I mean, you can really see that people are doubling down on the Chinese New Year. I mean, clearly with the strict measures around COVID and so on, there's not gonna be a lot of traveling like normally around the Chinese New Year, because normally that would be the main thing. People going back to their laojia, going back to their hometown. But I think people are probably mostly gonna stay put this time. Although I think people might have some options to travel. I think they're really kind of discouraged to do that. But then again, instead, people are staying here in Beijing, and Beijing really turns like a sleepy around that time of the year. People leave, and it gets really like relaxed to stay in the city. But this year, I can see a lot of people are staying, so they're doing actually a lot more than I'm used to in terms of decorations and other things like that. So that is really lovely. But this is not the only New Year that is going on around these time of the year. We just finished our calendar year, right? Like 2021 just finished, and I don't know if you had like nice Christmas or New Year. Over here, we certainly celebrated really well. In our last video cast, we had like the uh, the Christmas theme going on. I guess this time we have the New Year's theme. I don't know what you did for your New Year's Eve on the 31st of December, but in my case, I invited some friends over and we had some bubbly wine and fancy dinner in a restaurant downstairs in my building here, and it was really actually lovely. I don't know, like, how did you enjoy your New Year's?
It was family time, Halder. I think it was. I mean, we had a good time. Again, COVID, so no big parties on the squares and on the streets. Everything was cancelled. But it was a good opportunity to stay with family, and of course, a lot of bubbles, prosecco wine. We drink Italian normally here. And yes, we were in the mountains, so surrounded by snow and cold with some fireworks. It was pretty nice.
You have fireworks in
Christmas and
Italy
New Year.
for New Year's?
Yeah, yeah, of course. Not as in China again. They come from there, right? But yeah, that's a tradition. Fireworks, at least those they were not cancelled. So we enjoyed these colors in our skies at midnight.
Yeah, I mean, like we used to have fireworks around here in China, but I feel like these days they're really frowned upon, well, ever since I've been in Beijing, the first time I came in 2006, they were always banned within the fourth ring road, which is like most of the city. But I remember like early on, we used to go to a villa, our friend's villa, right outside of the ring road, and uh, we would shoot up some fireworks. But this year, I think they were totally banned everywhere in Beijing, like even in the countryside and everything. And it's a little bit different from how it used to be. But I'm a big fan of fireworks. Where I come from in Iceland, there's so many fireworks, and they actually like broke a record this year in terms of how many fireworks were blown up and so on. And it's a little bit different the way that they do fireworks here from like how I'm used to, in the sense that we have a lot of these fireworks we shoot up into the air, like this big sort of these big firework displays in Iceland, but here people are more inclined towards the firecrackers, right? Especially like not only Chinese New Year, but also whenever there's like a big holiday of any kind or just celebration, like weddings, for example, are like totally full of firecrackers normally. So it wouldn't. It's not unusual to be hearing firecrackers, really loud firecrackers. It's kind of like over the top, all through Chinese New Year, except for I have to say, within less than a week from the Chinese New Year, I haven't heard any of them yet. There's not no fireworks I've been like aware of in Beijing this year. I don't know. I don't know if they're just really strict on this or what's going on. But uh, just to really quickly introduce ourselves, we are the Euraccess China team. My name is Halldor Berg, and Anna is also within the team, speaking from Italy, and Euraccess China. For those of you that are seeing these kind of videos for the first time, is a project of the European Commission that tries to connect researchers in European research area with researchers from all over the world, including China, which is sort of our mission here at the Euraccess China team. And we've been doing quite a bit of that, and the theme of this episode is sort of on the. We'll be discussing the Chinese, no, sorry, the New Year's, and on that occasion, we will be looking at sort of 2021 in hindsight and what we did to connect the research area of like the European research area and the researchers communities in Europe with the Chinese and so on in the COVID year, the second year of COVID in 2021. And you would have thought it's a difficult task, and it might be, but actually it's not that tricky. We managed to find a lot of innovative ideas to do things in 2021, as you can see in our newsletter that we just published. So we do these kind of videocasts that we're doing right now every month, and we also do like a daily social media post and so on the Chinese and the Western social media and so on. But then every quarter, 4 times a year, we also do like a little bit more substantial newsletter. And I was thinking, Anna, maybe we could just like kind of take a look at the year 2021 by going through our newsletter that we just published. What do you think about that?
Yeah, let's do that. That's a nice way to also to take advantage of our newsletter. So yeah, hi everybody, and hi to the new viewers. I'm Anna Facchinetti. I have this beautiful window overlooking Rome, as at the moment I'm in Italy. But I am very happy to be part of the China team, and hopefully COVID will allow me to move back to China very soon. And let's do as Halder suggested. Let's have a look at our newsletter. This is the newsletter of the last quarter of 2021. And we started the newsletter with presenting actually a very new newsletter. It's the first edition of the newsletter of the network of European researchers in biology and medicine in China. And
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have a yeah,
Let me first let me
Halder.
show the people how how it looks like. So if we kind of like switch over to our website. So like first of all, if you are a member of the Euraccess China community, you will be having your newsletter delivered every quarter. But if you have not seen this before and you kind of aren't receiving our emails and you're part of like getting the information and messages from us, what you can do is that you can go to our website, which is china.euraccess.org, and to find our newsletters. Normally, actually, like all of these articles here are from the newsletter right now. So you could basically just go through our news section. But if you go to publications and you can click through browse through our newsletters, you'll be taken to this website here, and you can see basically all of our newsletters since 2013, and we have had hundreds of newsletters since then. But the one that we want to talk about this time is the fourth newsletter of 2021, and maybe I'll just like scroll a little bit up. You'll be like greeted by a little bit of an overview from us about what, and like a little bit of welcoming words, and then right below we will be introduced to our articles. And Anna, you were saying that the first article was about the NERPIMAC, right? NERPIMAC stands for, well, what does NERPIMAC stands for?
Yeah, the first article is basically we are advertising NERMIMAC. NERMIMAC is the acronym for Network of European Researchers in Biology and Medicine in China. So it's this network of European researchers that are based in all around China at different universities in different regions, all working in these two fields of research, biology and medicine. And this network is pretty new. It was established after our Forum for European Researchers that took place in June last year and now has more than 60 members. So they have been very active. And, one of their main goals is basically to get known by other researchers, European and Chinese, working in China in their fields. So they decided to launch this newsletter. This is the first edition. The idea is to have it quarterly. So this is the winter edition, and there is going to be other three in every season of 2022. And they use it to advertise their network, to share the publications, recent publications of the members, and also to share the new members that joined the network. It's really like a way to invite researchers, research institutions, and anyone working in the field and working within Europe and China collaboration to also get in touch, get involved, propose activities, propose new collaborations. So we are very happy to have decided to give them a little space in our own Euraccess newsletter and to support the network. You can also visit their website that is also hosted on Euraccess China website. It's a very nice initiative. We are very glad to support.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the first article of our newsletter, and then we jump into a throwback overview of all of what we've done in 2021. Right, Halldor?
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I'm a big, I'm a big fan of the NERPIMAC network. I think you'll be hearing this name in the future a little bit more. But it's a little bit a meta of us to start their newsletter this time with a newsletter. So this is like a newsletter of newsletters, I guess. Anyway, we have the Euraccess newsletter that we're looking at, but this is basically the NERPIMAC newsletter that a network that we support. And they have their own, and we're just kind of promoting that a little bit in our own newsletter. But after that, we look at the 2021 in the review, and we have this like nice little timeline of 2021. I called this section "In Case You Missed" because for those of you that did go through our events with us, you might not need any reminder, but some of you might have participated in this and that, but not everything. And if that's the case, then you might be interested to hear what we're doing last year. There was a lot of interesting things that we were doing, and you might want to learn a little bit about. For example, we started the year with the science communication training, the SciComm training, as I say it there, which is something that we did in March to April, where we started like sort of like preparing our Science Slam event that was coming up later in the year, which is a science communication competition that we do by inviting our members of our networks for a free five installment series of training for researchers that want to improve their communication skills. And that means sort of everything from, that could mean anything from talking online like we are doing right now, all the way to speaking on a stage in front of like thousands of people, or even just like talking on the television and other things like that. And why is this important? Because scientists' job is obviously to do research, but also to sort of explain the value of research and making sure that it's understood why research is important, why people should be supporting them in their research endeavors. And this is something that every scientist and researcher needs to know, and most of them do. but it's also something that a lot of them are not super good at. So we did really help them out with that, and we had a really fun time with that. We had over 300 people participating in the science communication training, and like over 100 people got like certification after joining our trainers for the training. And another event that I thought was kind of also a good example of how we did a lot of things. You know, this is only like highlights, because like we also in April we went to Shanghai and we had like a perception meeting there, and we did like other things. We had like a webinar on the topic of Marie Curie fellowships and everything in at the beginning of May and so on. But I wanted to show you guys a little bit from our Kunming event, which is the capital city of Yunnan, the southernmost, one of the southernmost provinces of China, the jungle, tropical province of Yunnan. We went to Kunming in May to sort of introduce and do an information session about the European research area. And there, in front of 300 to 400 local researchers from local institutions, we sort of were introduced to them how Chinese researchers can work with Europe and European institutions and European scientists and so on. And we were not alone. The way that we decided to do it this year is to go and take with us basically spokespeople from different member states of the European Union. We had people from the scientific mission of the German embassy in China, the French consulate. We had people from like Poland, Norway. We had over 11 participants with us from like 11 different countries that came to talk, as well as the European Union and the European Commission. And to make it a little bit more interesting to people, we always set up this kind of like a talk show sort of a feeling where we put up this panel of people, and we have like a conversation about these different countries, and like how Chinese can interact with them. And then we also open up for questions, and people can ask these interesting representatives anything. And normally that is like kind of the most fun part of the whole activity. And this is something that we did, and like that was not the only thing we did there. I mean, like going to Kunming, we also had this amazing opportunity to meet up with people. For example, we had a meeting with Imes, who is who's a Spanish researcher who like researches the ecology of elephant inhabitants, and he's been following these elephants that are going more and more north in Yunnan into the inhabitants of human, and like sort of how scientists and researchers are figuring that out, and how to do like how they do that. And that was very interesting. And we also like we streamed our interview with him in our videocast in May. So if you want to see more about that, you can see your access in Kunming by kind of going there. Then in June, we had sort of the biggest event of the year for us, the Forum of European Researchers in China. And this is not the first time we did that. We did it in 2019 as well. But this was not only the forum this time. So like the Forum of European Researchers, we bring in over 100 European researchers from all over China to come meet us at the delegation of the European Union in Beijing. And the way that we did it this year is that instead of just doing that, we embedded it into like a much bigger event called the European Research and Innovation Days, that was organized by us in collaboration with the European delegation through the Europe-China Partnership Facility, where we did this big introductory event where we launched Horizon Europe, the new framework, research and innovation framework program of the European Union, and with the ambassador of the European Union in China sort of opening it up and saying a few words. And we also had workshop for European researchers, and we also had like this series of national diaspora networks, like the Spanish and the Italians and the Polish and the Belgians, and like over 6 countries had like meetings before the European meeting started, and then they all came together with us and so on. And we ended it up by creating our thematic networks. And the thematic networks, we're basically discussing like networks like NERBIMEC that we just discussed earlier, who started during this event. So this was our logistically very interesting thing, happened both online and offline, and had like all this interesting things to it. And I think we're very proud to see both how like a good event it was, but also how sort of concrete results we got out of it. Then and I wanted to kind of skip over a lot of the stuff we did. Obviously, we kept on doing information sessions and sort of trainings. We did like a training on Marie Curie again. We did a training of the European Research Council where we got like Chinese researchers sharing their testimony and experience with doing that. But what I want to sort of point towards you towards is the researchers' night that we sort of really revived this year. It's not true that we haven't been doing them at all because basically the only big physical event that we did last year was the researchers' night in Shanghai that we did in December. But this year we came back with a vengeance because we basically this time we did like a researchers night in not only in Shanghai, also in Guangzhou and kind of in Beijing if you think about like our science slam as a little bit of a networking event as well. So all these three cities had like opportunities for people to meet each other and network. So the ideas behind the researchers night is basically to create a quick networking opportunity for European researchers and Chinese researchers in different cities around China, and we might share some information about some topical theme of interest. But most important there is that the whole goal is to create an environment, friendly, welcoming, relaxed environment where people can maybe have a drink and meet some new people. And we hope that everybody that comes to the meeting, when they leave that meeting, they have like 2 or 3 new contacts in the researchers community. That is always our goal, and we're always trying to get better and better at how to do that. So those are the researchers night. And like I said, we also had like we sort of ended up with a small physical meeting in Beijing as well, which is our science slam. But small or not small, except for being a physical meeting in Beijing, it was also a really big scale science communication competition, because the science slam is something that like we do every year, and it was sort of our second flagship of the year behind the Forum of European Researchers. And because that just took place at the end of the year, right before the newsletter came out, we also included like this article about that. So I was thinking, Anna, maybe you would like to introduce a little bit the Science Slam article so people sort of can catch up. We already talked about the Science Slam, I know, in our last video cast, but it's no hurt to kind of take a quick look. We have some pictures now that people can see, etc.
Yeah, we're happy to talk about it. After all, after the forum, that was our biggest event of the year. So yeah, we try to give it a little bit of of uh, exposition even after the event. So as you said, it was a physical event in Beijing, but really this year we try to be very innovative, and the format of the Science Slam of 2021 for Europe China was really totally innovative. We had part of the jury that met physically in a very nice small theater in Beijing. We had the slammers, our finalists, were connected from different regions of China, and the audience that was connected from China, but the rest of the jury that was from China, from Europe, or from the US. So it was really a mix of physical event, online event, and we even added this third extra innovative element of virtual reality. So it was really complex to organize, and I think it was really challenging and exciting for the participants and especially for the finalists. So what we did, we said that already, but let me talk about it for a minute. The finalists we that were selected among those that send their applications, their science slam from the science communication trainings that happened in the beginning of the year, and those that applied when the applications opened again in at the end of November. They had basically two different opportunities, and opportunities to present in these two different ways. One was in virtual reality. So all of them had their visors, their VR visors, and met in the virtual software, in the virtual world, is the screen that you see behind the picture of Halldor on our newsletter. So the virtual reality was projected in Beijing and was also shown on the screen of everybody who was watching us through Zoom. So our finalists made a short presentation in virtual reality before their more traditional 10-minute slam that also happened online. So everybody could watch from China and from everywhere in the world, basically. It was really nice. We had the six excellent researchers. Three were Chinese and three were Europeans based in China, working in different fields. And it was really, I think, a tough competition, especially the two, three, let's say, best were very, very close in terms of scores. The jury online and in Beijing had to deliberate for a little while longer to decide who was the finalist. Also, our audience who was connected had the opportunity to vote. And finally, after the drum, we announced the finalist, who is the Spanish researcher who is based in south of China, Alvaro Cases, who showed and like explained in a very like a funny and engaging way how his research um, uh, is goes on in his lab. He used a lot of like physical elements to show the different parts of the DNA and how he studied basically how our body and the characteristics of our bodies are shown through the DNA and his job in his lab. It was really very interesting. And let me stop here because we already talked about it. But if some of you didn't follow our Science Slam, didn't participate, we also created some short videos where we show the presentations and how it happened in virtual reality. You find the links in our newsletter so you can quickly, click and have an idea of what happened. And so, yes, this was our Science Slam, but it's not, the only thing we talked about in our newsletter. We have a hot topic that is on climate change, and I think Halldor wants to continue about this.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So yeah, I really recommend that you guys take a look at the videos from the science lab. It's really nice. But like beyond that, I also want to point out that we just sort of published last week or the videos from all of the participants, all the finalists. So you can see all of them now. Like it's about 6 to 10 minute long slam. So if you want to see what a slam is and how really good science communicators, both Chinese and Europeans, are, you can just take a look at our videos. They're uploaded already on YouTube and Youku, and they're also on our WeChat right now. And I know that our great colleague Vanessa Vanessa Lee here in Beijing is going to be sort of publishing it through our WeChat post over the next week, like one by one, going through the slams and so on. So if you have a WeChat, that's probably also a really nice way to go. You can go there and watch it on your phone. Yes, but like Anna said, after the science slam, we had like several other good articles that are interesting here to people. One of the big things that we want to be able to do in the Euraccess network is to inform people on a couple of things. Like our members of the Euraccess network obviously will benefit from the network itself and being able to connect between China and Europe and between Chinese and European research communities. But beyond that, we are also try to make sure that we can sort of give the best information to people. And that includes information about how to get research funding, which is probably the number one most important thing that any researcher can get, but also about sort of policy updates and sort of interesting and really important developments in research policy in the European Union and around the world. And that's where where we are at with our next article. We had our great colleagues in the Euraccess Worldwide team prepare a really nice article about climate change, titled "Climate Change with Great Promise Comes Great Challenge." And this is not this is not like this is really, how to say, this is really worth it to read, because climate change is going to be one of the main emphasis and the biggest priority of the Horizon Europe, the new research funding framework program of the European Union. So climate change is one of the is sort of a cross-cutting issue in all the new missions of the European Union, and for our members here in China, this is also going to be really, really important, because when it comes to China Europe research collaboration, the main priority and the main sort of throughput line that you should be paying attention to, that both sides totally agreed on, that we should be working on, is how to tackle global challenges. Because when it comes to global challenges, there's one thing I can tell you for sure: they will not be solved unless we have China on board and unless we have Europe on board. And they will not be solved unless we have scientists around the world working together to figure out amazing new solutions. So that's why we decided to put the climate change article into our newsletter. And in this article, they basically go through and take a closer look on the COP26 backstory, which is the United Nations Climate Change Conference, and which just like took place in 2021. And it might be over right now, but there's a lot of really interesting things that you might sort of inform yourself a little bit about. The history of that can really let you know the importance of this policy topic for research and science and so on around the world. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if we, in 2022, we'll be seeing sort of a flagship initiative between China and Europe in this topic exactly. I really hope that's going to happen, and if it does, it would be really, really nice if we could like see research collaboration get more deep in the topic of climate change. It would be really, really nice. And for those of you researchers in all different fields, including environmental sciences and other fields that have to do with climate change, social sciences, etc., you should definitely be thinking about how you can take part in that sort of scope of research, because that is going to be where a lot of the European-China collaboration is going to be taking place over the next few years. So definitely take a look at our newsletter. You will also see all of the EU climate action links to the European Union website, where you can really go deep and find out more information. But from the climate change article, we also have another article, right, Anna?
Yeah, so we have another article. We need to thank our colleagues at Euraccess Worldwide for, and it's about an associate country of Horizon Europe. But we always have in our newsletter this Euraccess member in focus. So it's an article where we try to focus on a different member state or associate country, and especially maybe like those countries that are less known abroad, they need a little bit of attention. So that's what we try to do. We try to highlight what they have to offer in terms of research, technology, innovation, landscape, but not only. So in this edition of the newsletter, we have this article about Bosnia and Herzegovina. They are not part of the European Union, but they are associated to Horizon Europe. And so we try to advertise them as a destination for researchers. And our colleagues really put together a nice article, and they start from promoting Bosnia and Herzegovina from the natural landscape point of view. I was reading something that I had no idea about, even if Italy is really just next corner. That Bosnia, the name comes from a word that means water, and that is because not only Bosnia is on the Adriatic Sea, but it's full of lakes and rivers. So it's they talk about it as really like a oasis of untouched nature in Europe. So it really makes you feel like it's something where you want to go, even just for a trip. And then our colleagues focused also on providing information for researchers who might want to move or who are about to move to Bosnia and Herzegovina on the entrepreneurship and innovation landscape and the national research landscape. So really, I encourage everybody to read the article and maybe click through the links that are provided into it if they want to discover more, and especially if you know there's a country that has that name, but you don't know much about Bosnia and Herzegovina. Well, have a look at it because the less known countries might be those that are more surprising and that has a lot to offer to researchers, but that we don't know much about. So that is I guess, the goal of this article in our newsletter. Try to get more people known what in terms of entrepreneurship, innovation, and research landscape has Bosnia and Herzegovina have to offer. And this was basically the almost the last article in our newsletter. Then we have again an overview of our videocasts in 2021, right, Halder? But that is really the conclusion.
Yeah, I think we basically. I think for those that are, yeah, you're right. Basically after this article, we decided to squeeze in a little bit of a promotion of all of our video because you can see we have more than 12 video casts published in 2021. You can basically at the end of our newsletter, you can basically go there and see what we did and click links from all of our newsletters this year. No, sorry, all of our video podcasts from this year. Because we did one every month, we really kept up with that, and we did 12 in total. And these are all available to you at the end of the newsletter, and also just if you go to, let's say, YouTube or Yoku, you can see a new playlist with these uh, with this video podcast. But the thing is, for the people that might be watching this right now, we hardly have to explain that, right? But I imagine that if you're watching this right now, you might know what the video podcast is all about because this is what it's all about. But if this is the first time you are looking at us, just know that we've been doing this now for like 12th time already, and I think 2021 maybe one of the main outcomes and things to look back on is the fact that we did all this video cast. It was an experiment. I remember in the summer of 2020, during the lockdowns of COVID, the first lockdowns, we had experiments with creating like a video newsletter, and then later in October we did sort of our first video cast, and we decided at the beginning of 2021 we would try to keep on doing this as an experiment on a monthly basis throughout 2021, and I think it was really a nice way. So there's one thing, I mean, this newsletter that we just went through is an amazing information source, but it is like a huge list of text and walls of text that you can kind of use it as such. You can find the information you want to learn more about and go into it and so on. But I think the video cast have the sort of advantage of being more human, way more sort of friendly way to sort of get to know the UX's team and what we're up to and so on. You can definitely tell that this is not really well scripted or really well prepared. The idea is more just keep it a little bit more relaxed between the two country representative, Anna and I, and we can sort of discuss what we're up to. So if you want to sort of follow UX's China and what we're up to, I think this is a pretty awesome way to go about it. And you can take a look at our news video cast from last year to see all the cool things that we did. We did this live interviews from different cities in China. We talked to really interesting people during the Forum of European Researchers. We had this mini interviews with people. When the science counselor of the European Union just retired, we had this amazing long form interview with him where we discussed his career and what he had his work here in China. When the NERPIMAC network that we discussed earlier was just starting, we streamed there a little conversation with the two sort of people that are in charge of the NERPIMAC network. So over there you can really get insights from them how it goes. And also we have done all of this other video work that we included in this to give people insights into events and so on. In case you cannot come or interested to learn how it works, you can definitely see it there. But I don't know, Anna. I mean, like, this was a. I think 2021 was a great experiment for the videocast, but I think this is enough, right? We should just maybe this we should just like quit now, right? Oh.
Yeah, I think we can stop it here and just invite everybody to keep following us because we have some nice new experiments that we are preparing for 2022.
No, I mean like not quit the video cast though. I mean like yeah, you're right. We should maybe call it quits right now. But I was trying to insinuate that maybe after 12 video casts of 2021, we don't need to continue. No, no, we will continue. We'll probably try to do like a monthly video cast in 2022 as well, right? I think that should definitely be at least our goal. But not only that, we will continue experimenting with how to make the content more interesting, how to sort of make the visual look better, and just keep on improving this. Because like even though each of these videocasts might seem a little bit laid back, of course, over time we're basically collecting experience, and we might be able to make them better and more interesting for everybody, both by collecting more experience on our side, but also just to kind of figure out better what people want. So I guess one of the things that I want to end this videocast with is kind of encourage anybody that's watching this to kind of maybe give us some feedback. If you guys have any good ideas what we could be doing during this video cast, maybe like Anna and I are in an amazing position. We have this amazing network of researchers, more than 6,000 people here in China that are doing research in every different field, both Chinese and Europeans and so on. And we have amazing opportunities to see what's happening both the Chinese government and the European Union side. We also have deep personal experiences, both of us, with the sort of this research collaboration space and how it goes and so on. So, and these videocasts are sort of like a half an hour with us, where we can basically talk about whatever you want, whatever you want. So maybe there's something in particular that you think would be interesting and might be worth it to listen to when you're, let's say, driving to work or something like that. So let us know if you have any good ideas. We're more than open to anything, and I guarantee you. Well, I will just promise it right now. If you come with a halfway decent idea to us, I promise that we will execute it immediately in our next video cast to try it out. Well, that's me promising that. I don't know, Anna. What do you think? Are you ready to take a pledge to do something like that?
Yeah, of course, I'm totally on board. And to go back to your previous question, we have no intention to stop with the video casts. We have a lot of ideas, and we really hope that we're gonna also receive some ideas, some inputs from the audience out there. We want to enlarge our audience. I know the video casts are friendly, and they are, we created them in a way that they're very flexible, so we can really use them to highlight what's going on, to invite researchers to our events, to show interviews. So there's really a bunch of different things that we show and that we talk about in the video casts. So for us, it's really a nice tool to go out there and talk about different topics and different things. And yeah, I support your like call for inputs. Please give us ideas if you have any good one. I am totally on board. We will realize it at the next edition of the videocast. So please reach us.
All right. Thank you, Anna. And I think we can just like end it on that note. So I like always fun to do this, and I just wish everybody a happy Chinese New Year. And maybe quickly after the Chinese New Year, we might come back with our Chinese New Year edition of the videocast. I imagine by the mid of February or something like that. Anyway, like I wish you a nice break of all of you that are going on break in China and Europe. Maybe I don't know if somebody wants to take a break over the Chinese New Year in Europe. I hope you take advantage of that. And over and out from Beijing. Bye bye.
Happy Chinese New Year. Bye bye, everybody.